Ti say fet de ni sanya market kiti no yere mike afo ha de yenye bi ti say boot or si kan no ye sanya ma no ye ntimi nya bi wa ha cause cocoa there I suppose do be 18 years na ka wa go fet na ka no so timi aboa ye de bia ye mapa wa na use wan ko toto eduro rough cocoa so timi nya ti say na ope asase bi oho rebe ye cocoa na gala for abetu ti say obi amama asase na asen be ye 20 acres me oho a gala niti e ma betu asase no abeno kram na ka sopo medua kokra mante me anua gala ni de hadwon hadwon about me boy next stop sa de ni crack ye met me ask me bo say because east region how pe be bia koko pa e wo east region e kromu ha e krom ye kwani nye ti say duro ni gu koko so sister wa ko ye gala kasa ultimate because koko the season your time yeriti e basa ye kasa ye kwaduma ye nansa ye koko gala no ye koye gala ho adwuma sana be nye ska ne rebeto aduro fa gu koko so aban moaye e waduro mu emu moaye ye kasa na ebre ya ko gala ye nye ska beto aduro fa gu koko so koko price ni de eye maye but osatu mu de ye pe sister one open efu obi apenefu because akwaduma no edin obi kotima ene me say 1.5 ema mu be sisa beji 80 Ghana we hu ema mu bo emu san kobo emu seji 80 be ma beji 1 million koko e ka o sese ade na 3006 first I me say last year na 3000 wa hin ade ba
It's good for us. Why? You feet get the man I'm in for one.
Already, yeah. What's your bell?
I know they're back.
Bessa.
Well, come around here, yes. Oh, come here, not a friend. And then what I'm here.
Oh, one, first, real, one penny. One penny, the woman said, what are you? What's on Huko? Yeah, nothing is also. Let me tell you about you. What to be a sound of you?
Well, I can't tell you something. But anyway, I saw him. You need faith. They say faith, dear, Sanya market kiti no yere microphone ha de yenye bi ti say boot or si kan no ye sanya ma no yentimi nya bi wa ha because cocoa there I suppose I do be 80 years na ka wa go fet na ka no so timi aboa ye there bia ye mapa wa na use wan ko toto eduro rough cocoa so timi nya ti say na ope asase bi oho re be ye cocoa na gala for abetu ti say obi amama asase na asen a be ye 20 acres me oho a galanity e ma betu asase no abeno kram na ka sopo medua kokra mante me anua galani de hajun about me boy next stop usade ni kraka ye metimi asim bo say because east region how pe be bia koko opa e wo east region e kromu ha e krom ye kwani nye ti say duro ni regu koko so sister wa ko ye gala kasa ultimi because koko de season your time yeriti e basa ye kasa ye kwaduma ye nansa ye koko gala no ye koye gala ho adwuma sana be nye ska ne rebeto aduro fa gu koko so aban moaye e waduro mu mu moaye ye kasa na ebre ya ko gala ye nye ska beto aduro fa gu koko so koko price ni de eye maye but osatu mu de ye pepe sister one of penefu obi apenefu because obi kotima ne 1.5 mo be sisa beji ete Ghana
Sunrise on 3FM
emu seji 80 be ma beji 1 million koko e ka o sisi ade 3,000 more than ade ba ko ha ya
2.7 your urban lifestyle radio.
Eso was a 80 years now.
(18:08) here on the 3FM Sunrise, and we're talking the subject matter of cocoa. That's what we said we're going to be focusing on, and we'll bring you a bit more on this as well this morning. We've been hearing from some cocoa farmers from different parts of the country. This particular farmer we've been hearing from in the eastern region, to be specific. My colleague Yvonne Nikwe, who's our Eastern Regional Bureau Chief, has been engaging these farmers on the challenges, right? Let's connect with her right now on the phone lines for a bit more on this. Yvonne, good morning to you. I trust that you're well.
Good morning, Eric. I'm doing well. I hope you're good too.
Yes, by God's abundant grace, we're fine. You've been interacting with a number of these farmers. I mean, the general refrain has been, we've not been paid and there's difficulty and what have you. You've been engaging them, visiting the farms. What can you say is the status of the cocoa farmer based upon your interaction with them?
Okay, Sarah. So the Eastern region is part of the first 3 or 4 regions across Ghana that produces cocoa in large quantities. Now, 3 critical issues affect them. Of course, beyond the issues of they not being paid, there are 2 critical issues as well. The use of land or acquiring land. Some of the lands are being taken away by Galamsey, others to sun rigging. And so if you don't own a land or a land is released to you by family heads or people who own the land, it means that you will have just small portions of land to have your cocoa farm on it. It means that the production of the cocoa will reduce. It's one of the reasons why we're not seeing the cocoa board announce the over hundreds of millions of tons that get over the years. Again, there are issues of input, and as much as some of them acknowledge that government once in a while does give them a bit of petrol and spraying chemicals on their farms, they do not have access to fertilizers as well. Any of the fertilizers that comes in are usually a high cost, and so they don't have the means of purchasing them. So critical issues, money not coming in, access to land, and then inputs that are inadequate for them. And so these issues are one of the challenging issues for them, making the cocoa farming difficult. Many of them are moving away from doing cocoa because if you would have to put in a lot and not get quite much, and even the much you're getting, government is unable to pay for it. It means that they would have to leave their land and let the owners probably give it back to those who are doing illegal mining to sell it off while they engage in other activities that probably may just give them a short-term income. And so these are the challenges farmers across the length and breadth of the Eastern region are facing.
Right. On the persons you engaged, I don't want to say a percentage, but how many of them, for instance, were awaiting payments for cocoa they had provided or made available to the license buying companies and are yet to be paid for it?
That particular data is not readily available. But
No, I'm not speaking in terms of data. I'm actually speaking based on your interaction. So this is more people-centered and your experiences having visited the farms, not data for Eastern region or anything like that.
Okay. So for farmers in the regional capital, those in Oda, several of them have still not received monies from the cocoa they're giving to the marketing officials. They did tell me yesterday that quite from December thereabouts, monies were not coming in. They were just offered coupons when they bring in their bags of cocoa, hoping that the cash will come in. But as of now, the cash is not coming in, and so they are unable to fend for their families. Many of them don't do any other crops apart from cocoa, and so that is also another challenge. Probably extension officers will need to tell them out that cocoa farmers need to be engaging in mixed cropping beyond cocoa. Exactly what can you do again, so that when cocoa goes into a lean season or such challenges coming, they may have alternative crops to lean on as well as governments resolve the challenges for them.
Now, in listening to one of the farmers, there was an interesting submission that they are not getting a lot of support in terms of chemicals for spraying and what have you, and so they have to resort to illegal mining to get money so they can buy these needed inputs to use on their farms. Is that a prevalence in the region or in Koforidua and Oda areas where you visited, such that farmers say the spraying and all of that, which is more often than not taken care of by government, is not coming, and so they are having to resort to other means to get funding to do that?
Well, that particular farmer is from the Ashim Oda area. Ashim Oda is prevalent when it comes to legal mining issues. So, of course, those are the real issues that dealing with that. In as much as you want to do the cocoa business, you do have lack of funds. So it means that you would have to, as it were, engage in illegal mining to get quite some substantial amount of money to put back into your farming activities. And so it looks like paying Peter to rob Paul. Exactly whether even those mining activities are legal is another issue, because of how NIMOS being to that area clamped down on quite a number of illegal mining activities and irresponsible mining activities as also two critical issues to deal with. Cocoa farmers not having input to get enough production or expand their farms or get their farms going, dealing with issues with mining as well, people engaging in those activities because probably they need some money to invest back into their farming. That particular area is one of the biggest areas that produces a lot of cocoa in the Eastern region. Ashimoda, Kede, and those enclaves do a whole lot of cocoa for the Eastern region. And so yes, it's one of the areas that we have to be looking at in the coming days to see exactly how cocoa farmers in those areas would be sustained.
But generally, is that also a challenge? The lack of inputs and support that you've realized outside of Akimoda? Because that was a very interesting aspect where it's resulting to illegal mining. Is it widespread? Maybe other areas are not having to resort to illegal mining, but the farmers are being forced to do other things so that they can get support for their farms.
That was a quite interesting and different issue for him and probably those in his area. For other areas, they would definitely abandon their farms and probably get to engage wholly in illegal mining or mining in any form of activities because of doing the cocoa farming business, and for a year or two, you're not having the needed inputs. But illegal mining or irresponsible mining is giving you quite a substantial amount of money, probably by day or by week. It means that you will desert your farm. For others who are not facing the issues of mining and the Nkoforidua and the rest of it's an issue of sun winning. And so those who are engaged in the sun winning are taking over their land. And so people who, as I mentioned already, do not actually own the land, but they are party to the land, are losing their lands also. So it's an issue of how governments engage with the landowners to ensure that farmers who get lease lands are able to maintain them for a longer period of time to produce the cocoa. Otherwise, we may not have the output we have been having over the years. We'll still be short of cocoa to supply or export from our country.
And these farmers, I'm talking about the generality of the persons you engage with now. What is their expectation? I say expectation with regard to interaction with cocoa extension officers in their respective districts and regions, because I know there are officers in every region who are supposed to be providing support services to these farmers. Is it the case that these extension officers have gone silent on them? What is the interaction? What did they tell you is the response they get from these extension officers when they cry out for help, for supplement and what have you?
Well, that particular issue stood out when it comes to personnel of extension officers. They did acknowledge that the extension officers are always with them, of course, teaching them on best practice. That is the extent of the mandate of the extension officers. But beyond that, they are unable, as it were, supply them the input, because if the input does not come or is decentralized for them, they are unable to receive it, and so they may not have it all. Again, there are those who believe that in as much as some of the inputs coming, people not connected or are part of farmer-based organization would not access it. So probably if you're in Koforidua or as a Mankesi and you don't belong to a farmer union and probably pay your dues or contribute to the organization, when the inputs are decentralized, you will not have access to it. So those are also part of other issues on French side that is also affecting these farmers on a general level.
Yvonne, is there hope for them in your interaction with them? I think this will be my final question to you. When you interact with them, are they losing hope and wanting to abandon the idea of being cocoa farmers?
From my interactions with them since yesterday, they are a bit hopeful, listening to the conversations on radio and the promises government is making. And so it looks like they're just holding on in the next week or month, hoping that these challenges they're facing will be resolved by government. Otherwise, probably in the next 6 months or a year, we may get people out of the cocoa business and we may be found wanting, because we do know that cocoa is one of the critical crops for Ghana when it comes to getting income when it exports those produce. We're hoping that we don't get to that extent when cocoa farmers will lose hope in the business, but their challenges will be resolved, and then we'll have them still stay in the cocoa farming business.
Right then, I said that was my last question, but I just want to know about disease crops, swollen shoots, and what have you, whether or not it's prevalent in the regions in which you visited.
For that particular issue, I would have to confirm it with the agriculture director if indeed we're seeing some swollen shoots disease they recorded by farmers. Hoping that by the close of today, we'll get the confirmation from the ministry or the directorate here in the region.
Right. Yvonne, thank you very much. I appreciate your time spent with us this morning and helping us understand what the issues are in the areas. So Koforidia, Akemoda, and the likes, these are the areas my colleague Yvonne Nico. And if you're following us on Facebook as well, you see her in some of the videos we're rolling. She was present in the farms and was engaging these farmers on the matters. We are seeking to connect with Ibrahim Abubakar as well in the Ashanti region. He as well visited a number of these farms. Let's just connect with him and find out what the situation is there as well. Ibrahim, good morning to you. I trust that you're well.
I am doing very well now.
Right. We've been having lots of discussions about cocoa and the situation of cocoa farmers. You've been visiting some of the farm areas in the Ashanti region. What's the status of the average cocoa farmers there?
Well, Mauna, quite a sad situation for most of these farmers. They have been complaining for some of the farmers, and they tell me they've sold over 50 bags. They are waiting for the money for several months. They've not been able to receive even a peswa, and this is even affecting how they are able to take care of their families. We do know that about 98 of these farmers solely rely on cocoa activities for their livelihood as their source of income. So any delay of such nature definitely comes as a big blow to them. These are people who have invested a lot in their farming activities, and the time has come for them to reap what they have sown. And they have been able to harvest, but the monies are not coming. We live in a country where there is this fight against cocoa smuggling to other communities or other countries, rather. These farmers have consistently been asked not to engage in these smuggling activities because it's considered illegal. But they are saying that per the rate things are going, if immediate solutions do not come, most of them may be left with no option than to also resort to other means, and which means that whenever they harvest their cocoa, they will be looking elsewhere. They wouldn't be putting all their eggs in one basket, meaning they wouldn't be putting all the cocoa waiting for government to come and buy it. And it's something that should be of concern to the country because as we speak, our cocoa production itself is on the decline due to activities of illegal miners. And some of these farmers, while some willingly even give out their cocoa farms to these illegal miners, others do not, but forceful takeover. And these farmers have been taken through series of education on the need not to even attempt selling their farms to these illegal miners. So they are saying that if they have decided to abide by that, the government should also do its part of the contract by ensuring that whenever their cash crop is ready, they should also be able to get their money as and when they need it. So there's been a lot of conversation, but generally most of them are complaining that even monies to send their wards to school, monies to even fend for themselves is becoming a challenge, and they are hoping that as soon as possible, government does something about it and release monies for them to be paid.
And for these farmers who are still awaiting the payments, what is the communication they have received in interaction with officials from the LBCs and what have you?
Well, most of them are saying same old communication, nothing different from what they've been told. They are still giving assurances that the money will come, whilst others are even being told the truth that there are no monies. Others are still receiving assurances that they should hold on, money will soon come. But their challenge is that they are unable to even plan because they do not know exactly when the monies will come. They've not been given timelines. Let's say if they are even aware that it may be somewhere in March the monies will come, or April, then they will even know how to plan, or if they will have to go for loan, they will know how to properly plan for their activities. But as we speak, they do not know exactly when these monies are coming, and it's even affecting their farming activities because some are unable to even buy the farm inputs that they require to continue with the farming activities. For some of them, they are quite fortunate. For some who are not only into cocoa, so they are falling on other crops, let's say plantain and other crops that they are working on, and vegetables to be able to get something and rely on. But those who are solely working on cocoa farming are quite hot, and they do not want any further excuses. They've heard that indeed the president is trying to intervene, but between today and tomorrow, they are waiting to hear something positive, that there will be timelines, maybe next week, next 2 weeks, next 3 weeks, they will be getting their monies. That is all that they are waiting to hear from the government.
Right. Just quickly on difficulties in being able to continue farming. We engage with Yvonne, and in some parts of the eastern region where galamsey is rife, some of the farmers tell us that, look, we sometimes enter galamsey pits, get some money, and then when we get money, we return to our cocoa farms and use that as financial aid to get the input and supplements needed. Outside, are we seeing similar, right, in the Ashanti region? I know you've mentioned some of the farmers have other farms and they are relying on that. Are we seeing things within that region, even though we know as well that some of the farmers are being forced to sell their farms to these illegal miners?
Exactly, Mauna. It is not different from this region, especially in areas like Kunsu, where now illegal mining activities are even trying to take over cocoa farming activities. We are seeing more of these cocoa farmers doing part-time illegal mining, part-time cocoa farming. Some have, in fact, even moved to the mining side because that is where they are fetching the money. So in this situation, yes, it is indeed true. I've spoken to some who say from time to time they will have to go and engage in some of these illegal mining activities so that they will also be able to get something and be able to cater for the needs of their family. For now, that is the primary needs, at least the basic ones, feeding, education, health. They have to make sure that they get money from elsewhere to be able to sort out these things. So it's true, it's happening here, like I said, in areas around Kunsu and its environs.
Right then, Ibrahim, thank you. Thank you very much for this update. I'm sure we'll return to you after that address by the finance minister a lot later today and see what the farmers make of it. Wisdom, Safo is still in studio with me. So Wisdom, just quickly, the effect of galamsey is not just taking over farms, but it's also becoming a means of support for some farmers to keep them afloat. A very interesting dynamic between our cocoa and galamsey.
That's very sad, Mawena. You see, it's before, as a country, we can take control over our cocoa industry. We have to be in a better position to at least produce enough in order to control the market. So if you have this galamsey conversation coming in, look, about 15,000 hectares of cocoa farmland have been lost because of galamsey. And galamsey is a short-term, fast money. Cocoa gives us longevity. Well, so I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday. He said that galamsey is like a girlfriend and cocoa is like a wife. You know, it's a long-term investment. Okay, we can't have this opportunity cost because we want to quickly get gold, sell it, and make money. Well, I don't want to strike a relationship between how our gold exports are increasing and the fact that the share of cocoa diminishing. But if you look at the share of cocoa as percentage of our total export, I was putting out the figures. You realize that it has declined from 26.6% in January 2023 to 12.4% in November 2025. So that's like a 40 percentage point decline. So at first, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, we were able to control the market because we were producing somewhere around 64% of the entire market when you're talking about global cocoa production. But here lies the case, we are producing less than 40% now because a lot of other countries are coming in. We don't have a say. We can't control prices. You see, if you can't control prices, you are always at the mercy of the international price. So that's the main challenge. In order to take control of the cocoa sector, we have to be producing more, and we have to be in a good standing. Because if your buyer will even give you a loan to even go and buy your cocoa, you have to actually show commitment that you are always producing. There's constant supply of this cocoa. But if we have galamsey coming in, destroying this cocoa, you cut down our cocoa trees just because you want to quick cash, then it's a challenge. But I understand them. Well, they have to eat, they have to survive. So it's a challenge. We have to go down there and solve the issue from the ground, from the base. And you remember one with the conversation with Yvonne, she mentioned that land lease, those who are leasing their lands to these cocoa farmers. If I lease my land to you,
I'm not seeing the returns.
You are not giving me any money for whatever you are producing on my land. You still want me to give that land to you? No, I won't. I'd rather go and give it to someone who is a galamseya, who will give me huge amount of money to extract my gold. So we are battling not only against forex debts, international.
We're losing cocoa
we are
farm.
also losing
then
our
there's a
cocoa
swollen
farm
shoot virus as well, which is wiping out
some of these
cocoa farms as well, and they all have to be rehabilitated and treated amongst many other things. Let's talk what we can look out for today when the finance minister does address. We've pretty much laid bare what the problems are. We've had a conversation as well about the spot price forward sales and all of that. Realistically, based upon what it is that we've seen play out, what options do we have on the table per the data points that we've been looking at?
So, Mawena, per the data point, you realize that our best bet will be internal value addition.
That's been something that we've been saying for a very long time.
You see, sometimes it's not about getting a doctorate degree to solve the basic problems. You see, some of the things that the solutions that are being proposed are things we already know. Just do the simple things right. You see, and the simple things are sometimes the most difficult things to do. So internal value addition is our best bet. Look, we were having a conversation about why our local manufacturers are not getting our own
premium cocoa beans, right?
They have to go and import from Burkina Faso, import from Cote d'Ivoire, just to process, because we've sold all our cocoa out. And if we are able to sell internally, we will not have this exchange rates disadvantage. The only disadvantage will be on the producer side. So whether the producer, after producing, the market of that producer, is it internal or external?
All of these are factors, and whether or not the producers have the capacity to take the volumes we produce every year, the tons of cocoa beans that we produce every year. That's
another conversation.
That's not readily available as well.
You know, the chocolate we've been producing is a premium.
Kinsby.
Kinsby.
That's actually my favorite.
Your favorite,
when we talk chocolate.
I have a friend in France. Whenever I call her, she tells me that, look, I want King's Bite. The chocolate in France, I don't like the chocolate here. I want King's Bite.
King's Bite.
So we can capitalize on the quality and market. If we capitalize on the quality, sometimes even if you go to a shop, let's for instance, and there are 2 grades of chocolate, you look at, okay, if the higher grade, it's expensive and you have the taste and preference for it, no matter the price they quote for you, you're still going to buy it. So effective marketing, internal value addition, and expanding the market base. You know, one thing we can also do is to subsidize the production or the internal processing of this cocoa, because if a producer, let's say, is trying to buy Ghana made cocoa or cocoa beans to process
cocoa pods from Ghana, right?
Ghana, we should just put in place programs or policies that will make it cheaper for them to access, especially when it comes to tax reliefs. I'm not proposing that we should go and cut taxes but we can look at subsidies, look at things that will make it easier for them to produce the cocoa internally at a very cheaper price. Because one of the greatest disincentive to us as a country is because we are at the mercy of international prices. Whatever happens on the international price will have a direct effect on the farmers and would have a direct effect on our revenue mobilization as well. So we have to look at all angles, Marina.
Right then, that's Wisdom Safo with our research desk here at Media General, helping us appreciate as well the many other matters on front and center in terms of all that we're supposed to be talking about. We're just going to go for this quick break.